What is going on, basketball fans? Welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, brought to you by Bet Online on the SportsEthos Fantasy Basketball platform. I am Rick Kamla, joined by FSWA Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, aka Dr. A. We're going to be breaking down Wednesday night slate. We're going to take a little look ahead at Thursday as well later on here. Doc, 10 games in the NBA after the two-game opener last night. We're going to start with some injuries here in a second, but we're vibing on basketball, dude. This is old school style. Late night, Cam, Doc, talking fantasy basketball. I'm excited, man.
Dude, it feels like 2002 all over again. That's where you and I started. That's where the friendship started. Doing this, although I think then we were doing it at 1 a.m. instead of midnight. And you were in the attic. You were in the fantasy flat. And now I'm in my mom's attic. So it's like deja vu all over again.
It is, man. The Gatorade Virtual GM show, the old fantasy basketball show that I hosted back in the day is what Doc is referencing here. Bradley Beal just hit a right wing three to tie it up, 72-72 Phoenix and LAC. We'll get into this. We'll get into all of these games. But before we get into the injuries, and there were some big ones here tonight, we got to tip things off with a quick word from our sponsor, because basketball fans, it's that time of year again. The NBA is back. From opening tip-off to the buzzer beaters, it's all happening right now. Buckets by the Clippers. BetOnline has you covered with the best odds, the biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. So BetOnline has every stat, matchup breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the game. And it's not just the NBA. BetOnline has odds on everything from football to the MLB playoffs, the World Series coming up on Friday. The NHL is in full swing now, and they have political props as well. I can't wait to down the line get some political propage from Dr. A. But head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online. The game starts here. All right, so it is the Fantasy NBA Today podcast brought to you by Bet Online with Cam and Doc. It is the OGs After Dark. We'll get to the Magic Man of the Night in a minute here, Doc, but let's touch on three injuries that happened tonight. One of them I would cite as big. The other two I would cite as, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But clearly not good news for the managers of DeJounte Murray, Brandon Miller, and Emmanuel Quickly. Let's start with DeJounte here, Doc. And Shams Charania is reporting that DeJounte Murray is feared to have a fractured left hand. Okay. Now, Doc, you know this. I know this. A lot of our audience knows this. That means that he has a broken left hand. Okay. You see this. So they did the x-ray. All right. And Shams got the intel on the x-ray. So this is like, you can take this one to the bank right here. Broken hands usually are a 4 to 6 week injury. So it's not a season ender. But Doc, and DeJounte flirted with a triple-double tonight. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he was lobbing, controlling the offense. He was fantastic, man. What a freaking buzzkill, dude. I got a lot of shares of DeJounte Murray. I'm a huge fan of his, and he's out probably 4 to 6 weeks here, Doc.
Day one, buzzkill. You said it. I mean, do you go pick up Jose Alvarado? I think you probably think about it. If you drafted CJ McCollum and you weren't sure, you should be good to go for 4 to 6 weeks. It's sad.
It most definitely is. Doc, I do believe that Jose Alvarado is the pickup here. He had a very paltry line tonight. He came into the game questionable, but DeJounte Murray is the point guard of this team. CJ McCollum's not on the ball as much. Clearly on the ball a little bit, but, like last year, he was the point guard. That's not the case anymore. He was off the ball tonight, 23 points, 5 assists, 5 threes. CJ was terrific. Now, we don't know how this is all going to look, right? When Zion is healthy, when Trey Murphy is healthy, is CJ going to be the sixth man of this team? We don't have to worry about that right now. Trey Murphy is out with that injury. But Alvarado tonight, 13 minutes, 3 points, 3 assists, hit a 3. and had a steal as well. But he should be playing at least half the game now that DeJounte Murray is out. So I do think that he's a scoop off the waiver wire for sure, Doc. Jordan Hawkins had 13 points, 7 rebounds, a steal, a block, 3 threes. If he's out on waivers, he would be the guy that I went with first, because with CJ, Zion was ill tonight and was out, so he's going to come back. Brandon Ingram can handle the ball. So I don't think they're really worried about, oh my gosh, we've got to get 30 minutes out of a Tyus Jones type of point guard. So I don't see Alvarado going all the way up to like 30 minutes a game. I just don't see that. But I could see expansion here for Jordan Hawkins, expansion here for Jose Alvarado, and more on-ball duties for CJ McCollum. New Orleans did win the game, okay, over the Chicago Bulls tonight. And we will retreat on this game and get back to it in a minute on some of the rotational stuff and some of the stats. But we're going through some of these big injuries here tonight. So if you have DeJounte Murray, go get a Jordan Hawkins, to me, 1. Jose Alvarado would be 2. And he's probably going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. So you're going to have to make other plans here. But the good news is he's not out for the year. Did you have something to say, Doc? Pardon me.
Shout out to Jared Stewart on Twitter. He tweeted at us and wanted to know, is Jordan Hawkins the pickup? And you just answered that question. So,
well, you tell me. So that's my vibe. Are you going Alvarado or are you going Hawkins?
I mean, it's close. It's hard to really get a feel for it. Herb Jones hurt his back, played through it. Zion was not playing, so we just don't really know. But I kind of feel like I like that stat line and the minutes from Hawkins, and I think that's the indicator that we should be leaning Hawkins over Alvarado.
I got Hawkins in 30 deep, Doc, and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited, and he made it back to me, man. I don't want to go into some of the details on all that. We're talking about our teams here when we got all these injuries, but I do have Jordan Hawkins in 30 deep. I did start him this week, and I'm pretty high on him, and I'm pretty excited about that. Now, Brandon Miller of the Charlotte Hornets, who got probably the win of the night. They went into Houston and beat the Rockets tonight. We'll get into the LaMelo Ball of it all in a minute. But Brandon Miller, pretty early in this game, left with a left hip injury. And Doc, Trey Mann went off. 24 points, 4 threes. It was like last year when they had everybody out. And remember, Micic was out there playing well, and Trey Mann was out there playing well. But, I mean, that was garbage time. That was March and April. They were playing out the string. And Trey Mann, Doc, I always liked him at OKC. Watching him in the preseason, watching him in summer leagues, I'm like, this dude can go, man. He's a wet bucket. He can play make. And he put it on display here tonight. So clearly the pickup is Trey Mann. If you've got Brandon Miller and you're looking for a handcuff here, he's clearly the guy to go get. And so I don't know if Brandon Miller's going to miss a week, 1 game. We don't know details on that right now, but Trey Mann picked up the slack, dude.
Yeah, totally. And I'm with you, man. He's the pickup. I mean, there's not even a lot to say about it. Just don't cut a really good player to go get him.
Good advice. Yeah, because we don't know how long Brandon Miller's going to miss. Now, Doc, the other injury that went down was Emmanuel Quickly here. Right pelvic contusion. I'm not really used to reading those 3 words back to back to back right there. Right pelvic contusion. It sounds kind of complicated, kind of buzzkillish here when you talk about pelvic, pelvis, your torso, your midsection. When I have a baseball player get an oblique injury, Doc, immediately you're like, oh, not the oblique, right? Whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, all the twisting, it just doesn't work out. And I know you wanted to make a point here about Davion Mitchell. The point that I want to make about Toronto is, like, you're going to get your Cooper flag on game 1? They got annihilated at home by the Cleveland Cavaliers, like 136 to 106. Like, you get trucked by 30 at home on opening night. I know they don't have RJ Barrett, but give me a break. Scotty Barnes was not good tonight. But Doc, like, what are you doing here with the Quickly injury? Talk to me about Davion Mitchell.
Well, I think Davion Mitchell is the pickup, but that comes with a caveat. caveat. Every time that De'Aaron Fox went down or wherever Davion Mitchell was before, he never really stepped up and came through. So I'm fine with picking Davion Mitchell up. He played 25 minutes, 8 points, 3 assists. Just don't expect him to go off. He's going to have a good game here and there while Quickly's out, but he's not going to be a savior.
More excellent points by the Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, aka Dr. A, tracking Davion's production during the preseason. Doc, he did get minutes. He was rotational, and I mean I think he had one stat line that was kind of like, ooh, and the rest of them were like, dude, really? Like,
I'd rather have Jordan Hawkins.
Yeah, me too. A lot of 3 points, 4 assists, 1 steal, no threes. He's not a great fantasy guy. But if Quickly's going to miss time, you got to look at Davion Mitchell and at least give him some consideration here. So those are the big injuries. Wanted to start with that. It is, ladies and gentlemen, Fantasy NBA Today, brought to you by BetOnline, Rick Kamla and Hall of Famer Steve Alexander. So let's get to the Magic Man of the night. And we used to do this on the fantasy show back in the day on NBA TV. Best player of the night. Magic Johnson's my favorite player. He is sort of the sun that my whole basketball thing orbits around. And so we've been calling it that for, 20-something years. Kevin Durant with a left wing 3. Phoenix within 5. That's right. The Clippers up 5 with 8:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Doc, you go first. Who is your Magic Man of the night?
Well, first of all, for those of you who don't know, I had some pretty major throat surgery, so I don't have much of a voice, but it doesn't hurt. So here I am. Hopefully, it doesn't hurt your ears, but my voice should eventually come back. As far as my Magic Man, Cam Thomas, baby. People made fun of me for reaching for Cam Thomas last year. Then they made fun of me for reaching for Cam Thomas this year. He had a great matchup against the Hawks. They are a defensive sieve. Every big game last year came against the Hawks. Luka, I was there, whatever. Cam torched Trey for 36, 5, 3, 3 steals, 7 triples. He also ruined my parlay because he had a big 3 late and got Brooklyn back in the game. But man, I reached for Cam Thomas in a ton of leagues. He was one of my guys, and he came through big time on opening night.
Doc, what I can tell you is you're being way harder on yourself than we all are. We love hearing your voice and hearing you give the goodies here on the second night of the NBA season. The Clippers are absolutely surging here. They're on a 14-5 run. They're up 9, 7:20 to go in the fourth. Timeout Phoenix. Steve Ballmer's going crazy on the opening night at the Intuit Dome. And if you don't love the energy of Steve Ballmer, there's something wrong with you. Okay. But if you're with us right now, there's very little wrong with you. In fact, we're all hoop heads. We're up late. We're talking fantasy basketball. So let's continue the conversation here, Doc, with my Magic Man of the night. His name is LaMelo Ball of the Charlotte Hornets. And he passing the ball is the closest thing I have seen to Magic Johnson since Magic Johnson. All right. And it sounds like hyperbole, like I'm crazy, like I'm not. Okay. If you watch, and I know you got to go deep here, it's League Pass, you got to seek it out. It's Charlotte. It's like an underground rock band. Okay. You're not going to find it on the radio. All right. You got to go get it. But if you watch, you understand. I mean, his passing it's artistic. It's ridiculous. It's electric. And so he had a massive game tonight. 34 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, a Magic Johnson-esque stat line. And Doc, look, it's not like I'm surprised. It's not like I'm dumbfounded. I'm surprised that they won. And he was making a lot of plays down the stretch. He bricked a 3-ball from like 30 feet and beat everybody to the offensive rebound and the putback, which was a crazy look. Then he hit a big 3. He had another big assist. And he's out there with the swagger and with the bounce and the strut and the smile, and it's all back. And they just went into Houston and beat the Rockets. Very impressive win, in my opinion, here. So I'm pretty geeked on this. Now, Doc, it comes with an asterisk, right? Can you stay healthy? Can you do this for 70 games? But so far, so good for LaMelo Ball, dude.
So a pessimist says this is the ultimate sell high moment on LaMelo Ball. Like, get rid of him, get everything you can get, and move on, because his ankle is made of Doritos. The optimist says actually his ankle is made of titanium and he's good to go for the rest of the year. You do what you want with it. I've got him as the main cog of my Cam Dynasty team. And it's funny, I'm winning. I'm doing well. It's because I have LaMelo in my lineup. But yeah, he's going to ball out every night he plays. The question is, how many nights is he going to play? And when is the buzzkill going to come? Hopefully never, because I love watching him play.
All right, I am so excited about this. Cam Dynasty is my fantasy basketball league. Doc is in it. And Doc does not like Fantrax, okay? It's a Fantrax league. And so Doc has faded the Cam Dynasty as a league, and he's been in it. But, he's engaged this year, and I'm excited. So here's your squad, okay? LaMelo Ball did what he did. Colin Sexton, it looked, my eyesight's going on me. 16, 2, and 3, a steal, a block. Did not hit a 3 for you, but I like Sexton. Amen Thompson was solid, 13 points with goodies. You had Jalen Smith. I know a lot of people are high on him. He's pretty good tonight, 15 and 5 with a steal and a 3. Alpi Şengün went massive. We'll get to him in a minute. Your boy Denny Abdia is sitting me down. He had a nice overall stat line. DeAnthony Melton didn't do much. Actually, I take that back. The last I checked, I looked at that box score 15 minutes ago, Doc, and DeAnthony Melton had very little. He's up to 10 points, 4 assists, looks like 2 rebounds, 2 threes, 3 steals. You have Obi Toppin as well. So, I mean, look, I'm not sending your team to the Hall of Fame here, Doc, but you're back. You're up 5-2-1, against Josh Einzig here, my first best friend, who's been in a lot of fantasy leagues with me for a long time and a great fantasy owner. So I'm excited that Doc is engaged with the Cam Dynasty. Now let's go to the Chicago and New Orleans game here, Doc, and start with this one. And then we will move on to some of these other games. But we had no Zion. Okay. Like, I literally can't believe Zion Williamson didn't play. Yeah, I can. It's the most Zion thing ever, right? All this hype, all of this excitement, all this enthusiasm, and you miss opening night with an illness. Now they won. They kind of sort of trucked Chicago anyway. And Brandon Ingram, Doc, said, remember me, 33, 7 and 2, 1 block, 2 steals, 3 threes. And Brandon Ingram is trying to get paid. And this was a flex job by Brandon Ingram right here. This was like serious to him. It was personal to him. And a great look. Now, when Zion comes back, these numbers are going to shrink. But this was a massive opener here for Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, he was great. He's another guy. Enjoy it while it lasts, because his toe, he's going to get an ingrown toenail, and it's going to cost him 6 weeks.
What do you think of Yves Missi, Doc? 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks, played more minutes than Daniel Tice, who started this game. I thought Yves Missi was fantastic tonight.
We talked about him on the show this morning, and we were like, should we start Missi or Tice? And I said Missi, and now I wish I would have played Missi in my DFS lineups, because he was solid. And I think they don't have any bigs. They have Tice, they have Zion, and they have Missi. I mean, I think if you are looking for a center, Missi is not a bad place to start.
I mean, the 3 blocks have my attention here. When Zion is in there, he's going to play some center. So I'm curious and a little worried is probably too strong, but I wonder if Misi's minutes and playing time are going to shrink when Zion comes back, because then maybe the non-Tice 5 minutes will go to Zion instead of Misi, or maybe they really like the Tice and Misi, doubleheader, and they're not going to play Zion very much at center. We will see, okay, but that's going to be a rotational thing that I'm going to be watching for. But Yves Misi, look, he's a perfect roller, lob, shot blocking, Clint Capella, Jarrett Allen type of center. He's a contemporary 2024 center. Okay, very good runner, very athletic, gets off the floor, and he's exactly what they need. And to do this in his first game, being as young as he is and as inexperienced as he is, was very impressive to me. Now, Doc, and our audience members know here, it's Fantasy NBA Today, brought to you by Bet Online, Rick Kamla and Steve Alexander. That I was very high on Zach LaVine coming into this year. Zach LaVine did not disappoint, Doc. He went 27, 5, and 3, 5 threes. He was fantastic. And I'm telling you right now, Doc, Zach LaVine is going to have a year. Are you feeling Zach LaVine?
Not yet.
Really?
Although, I took him off of a milk carton tonight. Like, hey, I've finally seen Zach LaVine. First time in 2 years. Long time no see. Welcome back. LaVine's a really good player, man. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be awesome. But I don't trust his knee.
Okay.
I still just can't believe that he plays for the Bulls. I mean, I thought that was over. Like 2 years ago or a year ago, right? Nope. He'll never play for the Bulls again. And here we are. He was great.
How about your boy Giddey? Josh Giddey. I was kind of impressed he played. He had that ankle injury, lingered from the Olympics, and 14, 5, and 3. Obviously, a womp stat line here. But what were your thoughts on Giddey? I know you've been very high on Josh Giddey. Talk to me.
Yeah, I did. I didn't get to watch much of that game. I'm glad he played. It's his first game with the Bulls. That's the thing about this whole thing, guys. This is game 1. Like, we can't panic. We can't overreact. We can't do anything crazy. Giddey got off to a slow start, played a ton of minutes. I'm just going to ride it out. I'm going to give it a month, then I'll give you my evaluation. The fact that Lonzo Ball played 14 minutes and did a couple things is a little concerning for Giddey, but they didn't bring Giddey to Chicago to sit on the bench.
I agree with everything you're saying, and I actually think that the Lonzo Ball, I think his playing time is going to increase. He played 14 minutes tonight, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Frankly, he was effective. And to me, that's going to create an over-the-shoulder situation for a Giddey, for a Kobe White. It's probably going to ultimately reduce the minutes for Ayo Dosunmu because they got to play Lonzo. He's obviously a terrific, very talented player. You guys know I wasn't very – go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
I was going to say the only thing worse than my voice was Kobe White shooting.
Wasn't good. No. It wasn't good.
But he's a chucker. That happens. He'll come out tomorrow or whenever, and he'll make them. So it's Kobe White's like the stock market. You look at it at the end, not every day. You want to check your stock every day.
There's a lot of volatility. There's no doubt about that. Tyus Jones just made a driving bucket with 4:20 to go. Phoenix down 6. But the Clippers, the crowd's behind them. They're psyched about opening night at a Tua Dome. And here's Harden, little pump fake, little shot right in Jones' face. Clippers back up 8.
I got a lot of James Harden, man. A lot.
Last I checked, his stat line tonight was not great,
not
but he's been getting some buckets here. Where's James Hardanian at? Ooh, Kevin Durant with a block after a foul. James Harden, wow, he has erupted in the second half, Doc. I think I looked at the halftime box score and I was like, Harden, what's up? He's at 24 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 2 threes. We talked about it, Doc. I mean, I absolutely love James Harden coming into the year, and he's going to flirt with triple doubles every single night. No Kawhi Leonard. I mean, this is what we're going to get. He's going to have a huge year, dude.
I don't know how he can't. I don't know how he can't. He has to go crazy. That's all I got.
Amir Coffey is almost pitching a perfect game, but he's at the line right now. Guys, the Clippers are going to beat the Suns. We'll wait for this to go final, and we'll sink our teeth into and put on the rotisserie the Suns. You can't go to LAC and lose without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and have us. I mean, anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's dive back into these random thought bubbles, Doc. They're always hitting me. I gotta play defense on them sometimes. So we talked about the Charlotte at Houston game a little bit here, okay? But we got to talk. So we talked about the Charlotte side with the Brandon Miller injury, LaMelo Ball. They won the game. But on the Houston side here, Doc, Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet literally cost this team a victory tonight. They could not make a shot. They were awful. And they were the big money guys brought in last year to make them competitive. And it worked. Okay. Kevin Durant with a bucket here, down 4, 3:15 to go. It is tightening up in LA. But Alpi Şengün, Doc, what a line. 25, 18, and 5 with 1 block and 4 steals. And Jalen Green. To me, Doc, Jalen Green looked different tonight. And he's looked different in the preseason. There's a more serious vibe about him. Like, he's no longer young and up and coming, and I can make a bunch of mistakes, and it doesn't matter. There's no consequences. No. There's a lot of consequences right now. And Ime Udoka showed him last year, when you don't play both ends hard, I'm sitting you down. That got, and then Jalen Green finished the year very strong. He just got paid. And he came out tonight, Doc, with 28 points and 5 threes. He didn't do a whole lot beyond that. It wasn't efficient, but my man popped off for 28. I have a ton of Jalen Green shares coming into the year. He slipped in drafts. People just not feeling him. And I think he's going to have a breakout year here, Doc. Talk to me about the 2 Rockets that got paid, Şengün and Jalen Green.
Well, Şengün catches all this heat for not stealing and blocking. He also hit 2 threes. Like, what a stat line. Like, he probably should have been, if Brewski was here, I would have made him make Şengün his magic man. Because Şengün went off. But yeah, Fred VanVleet, 4 of 18. And Jalen Green, I agree with you, man. Offensively, he is a force. There's no doubt about it. 28 points. But he had 2 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 5 of 15 from downtown. I don't know. But the thing that is most interesting to me about that box score is all 5 Rocket starters played at least 31 minutes. That means Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore, Jock Landale, Reed Shepherd. They just didn't get enough run to make a difference.
Well, that's going to be the case. I mean, we've talked about how deep Houston is. Their 3rd unit has studs on it. Steven Adams didn't play tonight. I mean, they're so deep. AJ Griffin retired about it. I mean, he's like, I'm never going to play on this team. I'm dipping out here. Bye. And so that's how it's going to be. They're paying VanVleet. They're going to pay him. They're paying Brooks. They're going to play him. And then you've got the young cats, Jabari Smith and Jalen Green and Alpi Şengün. And this is why I'm high on Houston. I know they took an L tonight, in a really surprising L, but I'm high on this team. I don't have them like winning the championship or anything, but I think they can really make a run at the playoffs this year. Doc, let's go to the Bucks and the 76ers game, okay? The biggest game of the night. And so we kind of moved it down in the rundown here a little bit because it was not a great game. Milwaukee trucked Philly tonight. To me, there's a few things to get to here, but I want to start with Damian Lillard, Doc. And this is something I tell people all the time, right? And it sounds like redundant or obvious, but watch the games, okay? And so you can play fantasy by looking at box scores and just go into your app and do it. But when you watch the games, you really understand. Doc, I don't know how much of Milwaukee and Philly you watched tonight, but Damian Lillard feels different to me. He's got a flat face about him, and he's got it's like a flat face infused with anger and urgency and like revenge after last year. I just felt him. Okay. To me, it is Dame time. 30 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 threes. And I think he's going to have an absolutely massive year here, Dr. A. I really do. And that's no surprise really to anybody. But I think maybe some people faded him after last year. I was not one of those guys. I loaded up on as much Dame as I could get.
I have no Dame. I totally faded him. I didn't like last year. And I think it helps that Middleton is MIA, because now it can be the Giannis and Lillard show, and they don't need to really worry about feeding anyone else on that team. Like, Lillard can just do his thing. And I agree. I thought Damian Lillard did not look like Damian Lillard last year. Like, he was taking a back seat to Giannis. This is Giannis's team. I don't want to get in the way. And now it feels more like he's like, hey, this is still Giannis's team, but Giannis needs me to ball out. And I think they're going to be a dynamic duo, man. It's going to be very interesting to watch that.
Giannis had 25, 14, and 7. Now let's talk about Brook Lopez here.
6 blocks.
Doc, you know this is my guy.
He's my guy
this
too.
is my guy.
He's my guy too.
Brook Lopez all over the place for me. And I drafted up. Like when people were taking DeAndre Ayton in drafts, I'm taking Brook Lopez. So it's not like I waited till round 10 or something like that. I was getting Lopez maybe in the 7th round, stuff like that. But people weren't feeling it, man. And he fell to me in a bunch of drafts. Anyway, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 blocks, and hit a 3. That's at least the number I wrote down there. And so, Doc, this is a big year for him. It's a contract year. He's 36, and what a start for Brook Lopez, man.
Yeah, I think the reason that you and I got him every time we wanted him is the league managing rankings had him so low. And they had Ayton and other guys up here. They had him way down here. And you and I are like, well, he's just as good as those guys, if not better. So we were able to go up and get him. I've got a lot of Brook Lopez. He only hit 3 of 11 shots, 1 of 6 threes. But, man, 6 blocks and a 3 from your center on opening night with 6 dimes. Let's go. You are muted, my friend.
My bad on that, y'all. My bad on that. It's the Fantasy NBA today. Rick Kamla, FSWA Hall of Famer, Dr. A, a.k.a. Steve Alexander. Our great producer, Andre Lamoche, is doing his thing as well. He is with us. So, Doc, let's talk about Tyrese Maxey. We know that Joel Embiid is out. He's going to miss the first week. How long he's out, who the heck knows? He's going to miss 1 million games this year. Paul George is out, okay? And so here you go, Tyrese. Have fun. 25 points on 10 of 31, okay? Like 10 of 31. That's like an Allen Iverson stat line right there. And I mean that like with sarcastic affection because I love AI. But, Doc, welcome to inefficiency for Tyrese Maxey without the first option and the third option, man. It's going to look like this a lot of nights, especially against a good team like Milwaukee.
Well, that was weird because in theory, I didn't watch a lot of this game, but that's against Damian Lillard, who doesn't play defense. So that's a little concerning. But, props to Maxey for getting it up 31 times. Oh, man. Eric Gordon was terrible. 1 of 6. I think Caleb Martin started the second half over Gordon.
Like,
I
why?
believe.
What do these? What do they see in Eric Gordon? I don't. I just he's so overrated. I mean, should he be in the NBA? I guess. Like starting Eric Gordon over Caleb Martin. God,
He's
come on,
started
bro.
him. I started him in 30. It hurts.
Who? Caleb Martin?
Eric Gordon.
Well, I mean, I understand why you did it. I mean, the team is starting him. I'm just not a fan. I don't.
Yeah,
He
I'm
makes
with you.
he,
All
he
he
makes
does is hit threes. That's it.
and he's not even a 40% driller. He's not even like Luke Kennard out there. He's like a mid-30s guy. I don't know. I've never really understood the fascination with Eric Gordon. But we move on here. It is Rick Kamla. It is Steve Alexander. We are Fantasy NBA today, brought to you by Bet Online. We're on the SportsEthos fantasy basketball platform. James Harden, 20 of his 24 in the second half of this game. Clippers and Suns are coming down to the wire here. Golden State absolutely destroyed Portland. Now let's talk about the Memphis and Utah game. How about this was a good win by the Grizzlies in Utah? The band is back together here, but you don't have Jaren Jackson Jr. And they went up there and they got it done in a very close game. Doc, Ja Morant, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, and had 2 hang time assists to Santi Aldama, which were huge in crunch time, and then had he went behind the back, went right up at Kessler, hung, and flipped around with the left hand for a game-clinching bucket. Totally took over late in this game. And it was so fun to watch Ja Morant, dude. And I think he's going to have big, fat stat lines like this, Doc. I said before, I'm saying 27, 6, and 8 is my stat line for Ja Morant this year. He went 22, 5, and 10 tonight. Talk to me about Ja.
Yeah, I mean, very efficient. Only took 12 shots. Had 22 and 10. I think Ja's going to be great. This is the Ja revenge tour. Desmond Bain was solid. Zach Edey, 15 minutes, fouled out. Santi Aldama with no Jaren Jackson goes off for 27, 5 boards, 5 threes, 10 of 16. Like, is that fool's gold, Rick? Like, do you pick up Aldama and then cut him when Jaren Jackson's back? Or can Aldama make an impact all year?
Great question. Right now, I'm high on Santi Aldama with Jaren Jackson Jr. out. And Aldama clearly sort of like there was no like Brandon Clark. Like it was, I mean, he had 27 points tonight. Okay. He had one of the better games in all of the NBA tonight. Pardon me.
He's a big reason they won.
He is. He was the difference in the game. So I think Aldama is a great pickup right now. I think he's a must add right now. But long term, okay, Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to come back. Edey is still going to play, and he's going to play a lot more than he played tonight. He was in foul trouble. He's a rookie figuring it out. Kessler had an awesome game, which we'll get to here in a minute. And so, you know, for Santi, I think he's going to settle into a 20-minute per game role. I think we will send him back to the waiver wire. But this is what you do. You lily pad hop from guy to guy, depending on, you know, which starters are out and where the hot, spike pickup guys are right now. And Santi Aldama is one of those guys. Zach Edey, again, don't worry. Don't drop him. For the love of orange, don't drop him, okay? He's going to have a lot to say about this year for Memphis. Now, let's get to the Utah side here, Doc. Lauri Markkanen just did what he does, 35 points, 9 rebounds, and I wrote 4. I don't know. I can't remember if that was 4 threes or 4.
Triples.
It was 4 threes, okay. But I want to talk about Walker Kessler. I want to talk about my boy Walker Kessler.
Welcome back, baby.
I've got him in 30 deep. I'm very excited about that. Okay. He had 16 points, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks. Doc, he had a very, very good preseason. And he carried it over here with a big-time opener.
He may have had all 5 of those blocks in the first half. I don't think he had one in the fourth quarter. It's great to see. Walker Kessler let so many of us down last year. It was like they just don't like him in Utah. And now I feel like maybe they do. So huge night for Walker Kessler. If you landed him in your draft, you've got to be feeling great. Hopefully this is not a fluke and he keeps it going. Rick, I know every year you're like, Lauri Markkanen will not be there at the end of the year. I'm not doing Lauri Markkanen. Do you feel like Lauri Markkanen owners need to think about shopping him and seeing what they can get right now?
Oh, yeah. Well, we do the sell high thing, the must ads, buy low, sell high. Yeah. Every time he plays and puts up a big time stat line is an opportunity to sell high with Lauri Markkanen. So, yes, because, Doc, to me, there are 4 teams that are guaranteed to tank. Okay. We have a tied game, by the way, 101-101. Grayson Allen for the lead. No. Rebound to Zubac. We're at 50. James Harden just hit a mid-range jumper to tie the game here. No timeout. Harden driving on Durant. Ball up. Foul
He's
on
going
Durant.
line. He's going line.
2 free throws for Harden. And the former Brooklyn teammates, Harden just tried to take a charge on Durant. Durant got an and one over him. And they were really going at it mano-a-mano right here. All right, back to what you were saying, Doc. Yeah, it's a sell high opportunity here with Markkanen. Portland, Utah, Washington, and Brooklyn, 4 teams to me are guaranteed to tank. Okay, and then you've got San Antonio, Toronto, Charlotte. Will they tank? I don't know. Maybe Detroit. Right? Detroit looked very good tonight against Indiana. So yes, I'm selling high with Lauri Markkanen. Hey, what did you think? What did you think of the young fella Hendricks starting over John Collins? Did I miss some sort of disciplinary action by Will Hardy? Did John Collins miss the bus to the arena or something? Like, what the hell happened with that?
Not to mention Collins had 5 fouls in 18 minutes.
Get me out of here.
5 boards. Like, Hendricks was a hot, buzzy name coming into drafts.
He was.
And he had 12 points, 5 boards. They essentially had the exact same game, except Hendricks hit 3 threes. If you drafted Taylor Hendricks, you got to be feeling pretty good right now. If you drafted John Collins, you're probably like, did I miss something? Did he miss the bus? Lastly, Keontae, 3 for 18.
Ew.
5 and 9 from the line. Bro, you guys could have won. And you just made some free throws in the 4th quarter.
Harden, you gotta
get
go.
in the gym.
Harden,
get in there.
Harden missed the shot at the end. So here's what happened in these last couple of seconds here. Harden hit the 2 free throws. Durant hit a crazy fadeaway shot over 3 guys to tie the game. And then Harden let the clock wind down too far. He was out at the timeline with like 3 and 4 on the shot clock. He drove, he got the shot up, and he missed. He actually got a better look than I thought he was with all the real estate he had to cover right there, but threw up a little floater with that left hand over Bradley Beal, and it was short. And so they go to overtime here, Suns and Clippers, and it's fantasy NBA today as Steve Ballmer's like, oh, I can't. Steve, are you serious right now? He's got this look on his face, Doc, like he can't believe James Harden missed a clutch shot. Yo, Steve Ballmer, James Harden has never, ever hit a clutch shot. All right, Doc, let's talk about Orlando and Miami here. And let's talk about the winners and the guys that played well. Okay, Paolo Banchero. And you were on him, I was on him, Brew was on him. Get as much Paolo as you can, people. And look at this guy, 33 and 11, 3 assists, a block, a steal, 4 threes. The Paolo full line. Your boy Franz, 23, 4 and 4, 1 block, 2 steals, 3 threes. This is one of the best forward combinations in the NBA, Doc, Paolo and Franz.
Yeah, and then the rest of that team was awful. Awful. Yeah. Like, that's it. It was Paolo and Franz, and I don't even know what's going on with the rest of it. It's a mess. So if you have Paolo you have Franz. And Franz, he had 10 of 16 shots. And there's a lot of chatter about his shooting, but he was good in the Olympics, and he looks much better than last year. I'm happy.
This is a progression he's got to make. He's got to fill out his game with the three ball. He had 3 of them tonight. Now, Doc, you go first here on how. I mean, literally, to me, the disappointment of the night, the what the F of the night is Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. This was a home game, Doc, the home opener for the Miami Heat. And I said last year, Heat culture is broken. Heat culture might be irreparably broken right now. They had 12 points on 2 of 13 from the field, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Take it from there.
Combined, they each made 1 shot. Home opener, opening night. Are you kidding me? I faded Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. I have 0 shares. I couldn't be happier about it. Like, ever since the friggin' haircut, it's been a disaster. Pat Riley probably wants to kick Jimmy Butler's ass right now. I want to kick Jimmy Butler's ass. I couldn't. He would kill me. But my God, if you drafted Jimmy Butler, you got to be like, what is going on? Like, I can't even wrap my head around this, Rick. Like, it makes no sense. Jovic, Rozier, Hero. Nobody scored 20 points in that garbage lineup. Awful.
Oh man, I've been so out on Jimmy Butler, all the missed games, and it's just, and then to come out like this after all that he has said, after what Pat Riley said about, if you're out of the playoffs, you got to keep your mouth shut. And he comes out with this dud tonight. Jimmy, you are digging it, man. You are digging it for yourself. All right, let's move on to Indiana at Detroit. The Pacers survived this one. Stop me if you've heard this before. Detroit had like an 8 or 9 point lead heading into the fourth quarter and blew it. Okay, they're still young. They still don't know how to win. Halliburton had a horrible stat line by his standards, but hit the biggest shot of the game. You had Siakam with 19, 8, and 9. Miles Turner was fantastic. 4 blocks and 3 threes. Ben Mathurin is back with 19. Cade Cunningham, Doc, 28, 5, and 8, hit a couple of threes. Jaden Ivey had 17 with goodies. What stood out? And so to me, the big takeaway here is I'm super psyched about Cade Cunningham. When I drafted him in the Cam Dynasty, he was my first pick, okay, in our inaugural draft. First round, first pick. It was Cade Cunningham. And these were the stat lines that I anticipated him giving me, man. So I'm stoked about 28, 5, and 8. What stood out from that Indiana-Detroit game for you?
Well, first of all, do you think Benedict Mathurin is a pickup?
Yeah, to me, no, because he should already be on a roster. But yeah, if he's out there, I would really look into it. He's going to be 15 to 20 points every night. I mean, he had a big cold-blooded 3 late in that game tonight. Yeah, definitely.
Neesmith was in foul trouble. He had 4 fouls, only played 19 minutes. So I think that's why Mathurin got 28 minutes. I don't know if I'm convinced that Mathurin is good to go, but I'm intrigued. Like, he's on my watch list, so to speak. Every time Miles Turner got taken, you know who I feel like right now? I feel like Lee Corso on College Game Day. I'm just trying to get a sentence out without screwing up, and every once in a while I'll be like, not so fast. Yeah, my voice is kind of like Lee Corso's. Like, I love Lee Corso. By the way, College Game Day is in Bloomington, Indiana, baby. Hoosiers, let's go. Every time Miles Turner got taken in front of me in drafts this year, I got pissed. I was mad. And this is why. 9 boards, 4 assists, 4 blocks, 3 threes, possibly the most underrated fantasy player in fantasy hoops, honestly. I guess that's my takeaway. You know what? Eric wants to know on Twitter or in the chat somewhere, who knows, are we worried about Tyrese Halliburton because he was beaten up last year? I don't hate this game. He shot 6 of 18, filled up the stat sheet, 2 blocks, 3 steals, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, 15 points. Not bad. Not great. I mean, if you took him 4th or 5th or 6th, probably not what you're looking for. But it's early. It's one game. Are you worried at all about Tyrese?
Not even one bit.
Okay.
Not even one little bit. I know the injuries hit him and he had kind of a bad shooting game tonight, but after he hit the biggest shot of the game, he had a little dance move, and I'm just Hallie is Hallie. Okay. We're not talking about that hamstring injury anymore. So no, I couldn't be less concerned about Tyrese Halliburton. It's literally all systems go. So it is Fantasy NBA today, brought to you by Bet Online. Rick Kamla and FSWA Hall of Famer Dr. Dr. A, go ahead.
Real quick. Tim Hardaway Jr., not drafted in any fantasy league that I know of. 29 minutes, starter, 14 points, a steal, 4 threes. Should people be picking him up? I mean, if you're in I think a 14 or 16 team league, I feel like Hardaway probably, as long as he's starting, deserves at least a look, maybe.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes. No, I agree. But if you're in a 10-team league or a 12-team league, then what he is to me is a Tuesday night streamer, a Thursday night streamer, a Sunday afternoon, there's only 3 game streamer. That's in a 10 or a 12-team league. But like you said, if you're in a deeper league, look, JB Bickerstaff is in this to win, okay? He played Malik Beasley tonight, who had a good game. Marcus Sasser is not really in the rotation for Detroit, guys. He played 3 minutes tonight. The rotations in the preseason spoke to him being out or like on the fringe. He's kind of like if he's like the first man out, right? Like, and if somebody gets hurt, then he'll be the first man in. But you can go ahead, to me, you can go ahead and drop Sasser to the waiver wire and pick up a Hawkins, a Mathurin, a Tim Hardaway Jr. Like, I'd rather have Tim Hardaway Jr. than Marcus Sasser right now, and it's not even close. I might even rather have Malik Beasley than Marcus Sasser right now.
Santi Aldama.
Yeah. I was just talking about the smalls. Like if you need a guard, because Misi as well. I kind of wrote down the guys that it was Hawkins, it was Misi, Aldama, Mathurin, Tim Hardaway Jr. Some guys to keep in mind here for the waiver wire. Now, Doc, let's talk about Cleveland at Toronto and get back to this. We talked about the Quickly injury, but this is what we wanted, right? Evan Mobley, 25, 8 and 3, 3 blocks, 2 steals, 1 3. Oh, angels are singing. And then we have Darius Garland over here, right? Didn't we want him to shrink? And we wanted the expansion from Evan Mobley. Well, that happened. Garland tonight was horrible. 7 points, 6 assists, 3 of 12 from the field. Are you feeling, Doc, like, okay, it's here. This is a trend. This is a pattern, or are you like, it's one game, I need to see more?
No, I feel like this is how it should be. And I also feel like New York did not look good last night against Boston.
No, they didn't.
Cleveland looks good. Cleveland and Indiana are probably the 2 teams in the East that people are sleeping on that could actually challenge Boston. And if Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are going to do this tag team, 39 points, 7 blocks, 16 rebounds, good shooting, efficiency, and then you got your boy Mitchell just doing whatever he wants. That's a good team.
Cleveland, they've won 99 games the last 2 years. They've been 4th in the East, exactly, the last 2 years. It's a very talented team. Dean Wade starting for Max Strus instead of an Isaac Okoro was a little weird, but we have a new coach there in Kenny Atkinson. I'm just not a huge Dean Wade guy, but I'm a huge fan of you if you're up late with us here. It is Rick Kamla. It is Steve Alexander. It is Fantasy NBA Today, brought to you by Bet Online. Let's go to Brooklyn and Atlanta, Doc. Trae Young.
Karis LeVert, 8 of 9 shooting, 19 points, 4 assists. Is Karis LeVert worth picking up? Should he be starting for that team instead of Wade?
Probably, but Kenny A looks at it differently. And he, it's probably one of those things that we don't need more offense in the starting five when you've got Garland and Mitchell and Mobley. So let's just get kind of a glue guy in there like a Dean Wade and then bring LeVert off the bench. I like Karis LeVert. He's like a 16, 4-4 type of guy. He's kind of Austin Reeves-ish, kind of low key. And that was a good stat line for him. It looked like Kenny Atkinson's not really feeling Isaac Okoro, who they just paid based on how he played him tonight. But Doc, let's move on here to Brooklyn and Atlanta. Trae Young, the stat line that we thought he would have. I mean, giddy up. He's going to have a magnificent season, 30 points and 12 assists. There's two big takeaways here for the Atlanta Hawks, Doc. And we already talked about Cam Thomas. He was your magic man of the night. Jordy Fernandez, like not starting Nick Claxton. Like, what is that? We'll get to that in a minute. But for the Hawks, and I've been kind of cheeky about this. Like, why do you all hate Clint Capella? Everybody's on Okongwu. I mean, wow. I had to eat it tonight, Doc. Okongwu, 28 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks. My boy Clint Capella, shrinkage, 6.7 rebounds, 1 block. Okay. Could be one game, hot hand, but I think and Capella's still starting, I believe, Doc, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Capella still started that game. Yeah. And then Dyson Daniels. Okay. Dyson Daniels is a guy that I would probably move to the front of the pickup off waivers list because of the fantasy gold, Doc. Dyson Daniels, 15, 5, and 2, 1 block, 5 steals, 2 threes. Okay. And so talk to me about what stands out there with Okongwu, with Dyson Daniels.
I love all of it. Let's get DeAndre Hunter out of the starting lineup, okay? Like, give me Bogey, give me Risashe, give me Okongwu, anyone. Get Hunter out of there. Okongwu was awesome, but he hit 11 out of 12 shots. Like, that's not going to happen every night. But man, he was awesome. This hopefully signals the changing of the guard finally. We've all been waiting for like 2.5 years. Like, let's go with Okongwu, all right? Dyson Daniels, bunch of buzz, bunch of hype early, and then he chilled in the preseason. And he came out tonight, put up a stat line. That guy should have been drafted in your league. If he's on waivers, to me, I think Dyson Daniels is the best pickup you can make right now. 35 minutes? Are you kidding me? Like, he's a steals machine. And he was awesome tonight. So, yeah. Sorry if you own Clint Capella. It's too early to panic. Got to see what happens. But Okongwu is young, has legs. Like, he needs more minutes than he's been getting. And I think they're coming.
They got to trade Capella, Doc. They got to trade Capella to a contender and just open that up for Okongwu. Get Capella to a place where he can start and play, 30 minutes. By the way, James Harden at the free throw line here, 4.6 seconds, down 2 to tie it and maybe send it to a double OT. I bet he misses one of them, Doc. First one is good. All right, so here's the bet right here. Second free throw. Does the great show artist
nails? He's got this.
I mean, if it was a long 2 or a 3, I bet my mortgage that he missed it. It is a free throw.
I'm betting you a Moe's burrito on this. where we used
And
to.
it is. No, he missed it. Oh, James Harden, you are the biggest choke artist I have ever seen.
God,
Time and
bless
time and
America.
time and time again. It's so
Dude,
it's
burritos cost like $15 now.
Steve Ballmer didn't have much of a reaction. I thought he was gonna like flip his head back or something like that. James Harden, man.
There's no more $5 burritos of those.
Look, man, I love that dude in fantasy basketball, but he is. I mean, I'd rather have Trey Mann in reality than James Harden. I'm telling you. Right,
let's keep going. What do we got? Wait, what?
Oh my gosh!
No, James Harden's my guy.
Oh my gosh, Doc, we got to talk. Nick Claxton off the bench, and he got ejected from the game for getting into it. What did he do? He clotheslined somebody. Was that Dyson Daniels? Yeah, it was Dyson Daniels. Got up. Anyway, and they kicked Claxton out of the game. What's up with Claxton coming off the bench, dude?
Well, I think he was on a minutes restriction. I read.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think he's fully healthy. He may have got himself thrown out of the game on purpose. Thinking about it, I don't know.
All right, so let's talk
how
about
Ben Simmons, baby? 6 turnovers.
With his he had a Draymond Green line.
He had a triple single.
He had the triple single, the old triple single. So Doc, the game we're watching right here, it's 116-113, Suns over Clippers, 3 seconds left in overtime. I believe the Clippers have a chance to tie right here with a 3-ball. But Durant, 25 with goodies. Let's see here. What else stands out? Pretty good line. Tyus Jones, 11 points, 8 assists. Beal is 24 points, 4 threes. Booker kind of taking a back seat tonight. It's only taken 9 shots. He's got 15 points. Really nothing off the bench for this team. And then for the Clippers, we talked about James Harden. He's been very, very good. Despite that missed free throw, he's up to 29, 12, and 8. Zubac, who just got paid. I think Zubac's going to have a big year, Doc. 21-9 for him. Norman Powell, 17, 4, and 4. What stands out fantasy-wise from the Suns and Clippers game?
Dude, if Harden would have shot the ball well tonight, that stat line would be enormous. He's 10 for 28. That's Tyrese Maxey territory, right? 10 of 28. 29, 12, and 8 with 7 turnovers. I'll take him, man. Harden played 40 minutes. Norm Powell, who I've been screaming about from rooftops for the last 3 days, only had 5 of 16 shots, but he played 40 minutes, had 17 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, a block, a 3. I think Norm Powell's going to go off. And I think Terrence Mann is somebody to keep an eye on too. And Derrick Jones Jr. That's my entire 30-deep roster is Derrick Jones Jr., James Harden, Terrence Mann, and Norm Powell. So whatever.
All right, Doc. Golden State destroyed Portland tonight, 139-104. Some takeaways here. Trace Jackson-Davis was in the starting lineup. 14 points, had a steal, 5 of 5 from the field, but that was a big question for me. And I'm now really bullish on him in that starting lineup, and I think that's going to be the case here. The minutes were down for the starters. None of the Warriors starters played more than 25 minutes because it was such a blowout. I'm sure they didn't even play in the fourth quarter. And you had Wiggins in the starting 5, and he had 20, okay, played very, very well over Brandon Podziemski. And Doc, other than like the injuries to DeJounte Murray, Brandon Miller, and Emmanuel Quickly, if you have Brandon Podziemski, this is a massive buzzkill. 0 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 0 of 5 from the field in 25 minutes. When you've got now, he's got if Poge is coming off the bench, you've got to now battle with Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, who played well tonight, Gary Payton, DeAnthony Melton, and the recently paid Moses Moody for playing time. Okay, this is look. if people want to drop Brandon Podziemski and put him on the waiver wire right now, I'm not mad at them. Okay, this is waiver wire stuff. And especially because, Doc, they're almost too deep. Golden State's almost too deep. There's too many buttons to push. The Kyle Andersons, the GP2s. These guys are paid. They're going to play, man.
No, I'm not panicking. Let's look at it from an optimist point of view. It's very rare that I consider myself an optimist, but I'm going to do it right now. Podziemski led the team in minutes tonight. He was tied. 25 minutes. He missed all 5 of his shots. He didn't score a point, but he had 7 rebounds. He had 4 assists. He had a steal. The game was a blowout. By the way, I'd like to be the first to welcome Mr. Flag to Portland. We're glad to have you up here. Keep Portland Flag. But Buddy Hield, dude, I'm telling you, I think Buddy Hield is a super sleeper in Golden State. I'm not panicking on Podziemski. I think or Kuminga for that matter. Like, Golden State played the Washington Generals tonight. Like, we got to get a real team in front of them and see how these guys perform.
Panic is probably strong. I'm very concerned about Brandon Podziemski. And again, like, if you want to go pick up Dyson Daniels and drop Brandon Podziemski, you have the green light from your boy Rick Kamla. I am green lighting that move right now.
If you want to cut Eric Gordon and get Dyson Daniels, you have the green light from me. I'm not dropping Podes just yet. Now, if Podziemski sucks 10 days from now, yeah, I might be able to.
But you got to make these moves now, baby. You can't wait. He'll like, and so that's how you're approaching it. How I'm approaching. I'm a little bit quicker trigger than you, Doc.
No, we're very fast. We're both equally fast.
We're downright impatient around here. Okay,
Rick.
Yeah.
We're gonna close the show like we opened it. You confirmed that DeJounte Murray had a fractured hand before it was confirmed, and Shams just confirmed it. It is broken.
Which sucks. And so he'll miss 4 to 6 weeks. And again, I'm trying to get out in front on that. It may be 6 to 8, but broken hands are usually 4 to 6 weeks. And so that's probably what Shams' next report DeJounte Murray is going to say. Now, Doc, there's a 4-pack of games tomorrow. Okay. Let's start with the ooh la la. Spurs and Mavericks. Okay.
Oh.
What a doubleheader TNT has, by the way.
Go.
Spurs and Mavs, and then Thunder at Nugs, right? What a doubleheader. And we haven't seen what a doubleheader. And we haven't seen any of these teams yet. So Spurs and Dallas. Okay, there's so much going on in this game. Klay Thompson's debut. You have Luka against Wemby, the top 2 fantasy basketball players, in my opinion. Who's going to start, Lively or Gafford? Huge thing that I'm watching for. Chris Paul's going to make his Spurs debut, and I think Paul's going to be fantastic this year. I think the stats are going to come back up for him. And then another thing, I've been very high on Keldon Johnson this year, Doc. Very high. I've got him on almost every single team.
Yeah,
I've been drafting him all over the place. And so I'm curious to see if he is the number 2 option, even if he's still coming off the bench behind a Julian Champagnie and behind a maybe like a Malachi Branham. Like, is he still getting 18 shots, going to put up 23 points? Because I kind of think he is. So those are the things that I'm looking for here.
Keldon Johnson is a bucket. He's not going to get you a ton of gold, but he's going to score some points. And if you picked him up super late in your draft, which you did, and he's going to come out and score 20 points a game, I mean, you can't really ask for more than that. And I think Gafford's going to start over Lively. I think Klay Thompson is going to be a rough ride. I think we're going to have some good games, some bad games. But, man, I can't wait to watch Wemby tomorrow. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I agree with you on Clay. Now I'm on Clay. I've got him in some leagues. I didn't go crazy for Clay Thompson, but I've got him where it made sense. But Doc, I think you're going to get some really terrible shooting lines. You're going to get some 8 of 13s, and so like you said, the stock market I think is going to be real up and down with Clay Thompson. I think overall he's going to have a really good year. I think he's going to be around 18 points, going to be around 40% on threes, and he makes his Mavs debut tomorrow. Huge game, Spurs at Mavericks. Now, Doc, OKC and Denver. My MVP last year was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The guy who actually won the award was Nikola Jokic. They will battle here, okay? I think we're going to see, Doc, this is OKC at Denver. I think we're going to see OKC flex a little bit on Denver, okay, and beat them and show okay, you don't have KCP anymore. You think you can do it with all these young fellas, and we are now the big boys on the block. And I think Oklahoma City's the best team in the Western Conference. And I think they're going to win the West and go to the NBA Finals. So I'm looking for a message to be sent by the Thunder here to the Nugs. I'm looking at that MVP showdown. How much will Kentavious Caldwell-Pope be missed? Christian Brown and Julian Strawther is a huge thing for fantasy managers to watch for. And we get Alex Caruso's OKC debut as well, Doc. A lot going on in this one.
Who do you like? If you had to pick up one guy right now, would you go Brown or Strawther?
Oh, I'm a Strawther guy for the threes. I trust that he's going to be a better three baller than Christian Brown.
Okay. Dude, Oklahoma City is going to go to Denver. This is going to be like Vandy playing against Alabama and kicking their ass. Oklahoma City wants to make a statement tomorrow night. What a big game this is, because I have Oklahoma City winning it all. I think you might have Oklahoma City winning it all. Vegas says Oklahoma City, the only team that they got favored above them is Boston. And I'm not sure Oklahoma City's a better team, even without Isaiah Hartenstein. I can't wait for this game. I hope, Chet a home run against Jokic. Oh, it's going to be awesome. What a doubleheader. What a doubleheader.
I know. It's insane, man. It's insane. Minnesota plays at Sacramento, a nice little auxiliary game, a little league pass joint for you outside of the TNT doubleheader. DeMar DeRozan, Kings debut. And so for me, I'm going to be watching how much sacrifice is going on with Sabonis, with Keegan Murray, with Malik Monk. Kevin Huerter is healthy now. He's going to play. Keon Ellis is probably going to start over both Monk and Huerter. And let me make a point here, Doc, about going back to the Minnesota loss to the Lakers last night. Anthony Edwards needs help. Okay. How many times would he hit a three to bring him within 7, or he'd score a buck and he's like, come on, let's go, to his team. The Wolves were weird last night. They lacked energy to me. They lacked urgency and motivation. The Lakers were all dialed in and stuff. And to me, the Wolves weren't. That was a really lousy, overall effort by them. And they were in the game. They didn't get blown out. But Ant-Man needs help. And Doc, you think about Julius Randle. Julius Randle had a decent stat line. It was 16, 9, and 4. He was so quiet, Doc. It was I didn't notice him. I didn't hear his name on the broadcast. It was just he was the invisible man. And Rudy Gobert got absolutely embarrassed last night. He got embarrassed. He got big boyed by Davis. He got blocked by Davis. He got big boyed by LeBron James. He got pushed around. I mean, he sucked. He was terrible. Okay, but Ant-Man needs help, because now you got Randall, you got Dante, but you downgraded in terms of star power from Cat to, and I like the trade for Minnesota. I'm not saying I don't, but in terms of star power, you took a little bit of a hit, okay, and you got deeper, you got more of a crew. And so to me now, this puts more pressure on Anthony Edwards, Doc, and this kind of has me thinking that Ant-Man may be putting up 30 points a game this year.
No, I totally agree. And between me and you and Brewski, you're sort of the Julius Randle whisperer.
I am. I am.
I'm out on Julius Randle, man. The numbers were okay, but the eye test, man, he failed the eye test. And Minnesota did not look like Minnesota from last year. So I'm very concerned about that. And maybe Anthony Edwards just goes George Gervin from the 1977 Spurs and does everything by himself. Just like, screw you all. I'm sitting on a throne made of ice, and I'm going to ball out every freaking night.
You're the man, Doc. We got one more game we want to talk about here briefly.
I have one more point before we do that.
Go ahead. What you got?
I need to talk to you about San Antonio, Dallas.
Okay.
Spurs are going to Dallas. Dallas was in the Western Conference Finals last year. The Spurs, we still don't really know if they're going to tank. They're probably not going to tank with Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama. But are they going to go for it? Are they going to try to make a statement? If they are, does it not make sense for them to try to kick Dallas's ass at home tomorrow night? Like, how big of a barometer is this game for San Antonio?
I think it's a big barometer. I mean, if you go out and you get destroyed by 25, it's same old, same old. Chris Paul brought in, didn't make an immediate impact in terms of winning. Like, let's say Chris Paul has a double-double. Victor goes crazy. Keldon has 27. San Antonio somehow upsets Dallas tomorrow night. I don't think you or I are trying to make too much out of one game, but it is a litmus test. And I don't think that the Spurs brass are going to draw any conclusions or make any definitive decisions based on one game. But look, I think the Spurs are in soft tank zone, Doc. I said earlier, Detroit to me as well as in a soft tank. Toronto, Charlotte. What I mean by that is they may tank, they may not. And even if they tank, they may tank a little bit later than some of the other teams. Brooklyn, Washington, Utah, Portland. Book it. They're tanking. That's not a soft tank. That's a hard tank. Okay, Portland. That's a full tank. Whatever you want to say.
Welcome to Portland.
Tankland is what we should be calling it right now. But those four teams are guaranteed. The other ones that I talked about are not. And maybe the last 2 weeks of the season, they start shutting guys down, something like that. I think the four other teams I talked about, they're going to be shutting guys down like 6 weeks out from the end of the year. All right, Doc, the one thing I want to talk about Boston and Washington tomorrow night is Jordan Poole at point guard here. Give me the stat line. And Alex Sarr is going to make his debut. Who the heck knows? He's a terrific young player. I don't know if he's going to start, come off the bench. We'll find out. We'll talk about it, next week when we're back on the air here. But Jordan Poole, okay, he was drafted pretty healthily, I thought, Doc. He wasn't there in the 10th round, in the 11th round, right? Like he was taken, like when I'm taking a Zach LaVine, other dudes were taking a Jordan Poole, okay? And so what kind of stat line, what kind of expectations do you have for him tomorrow?
Well, Jordan Poole is going to go on a revenge tour. And just like George Gervin in 1977, playing for the Spurs, sitting on the ice throne and balling out, finger roll, all-star games, scoring titles, Jordan Poole is going to go off this year. Tomorrow night is not going to be his night because Derek White plays defense. Boston plays defense. Jordan Poole's going to score 20, but there's other games where he's going to score 35 or 40. I think Jordan Poole makes people who forgot about him last year reconsider their thinking this year. Not saying he's going to be great, but I think he's going to be a lot better than he was last year.
Interesting. Doc is higher on Jordan Poole than I am, and I'm moderately high on Jordan Poole. But Doc, so like Dyson Daniels, I think, wouldn't you say he's the top pickup here, Doc? The number one must-have guy. Is it Dyson Daniels, Karis LeVert, Tim Hardaway Jr., Ben Mathurin, Santi Aldama, Yves Missi, or Jordan Hawkins? Just some of the guys, the waiver wire guys, who just as we leave the people here, the number one guy you got to have off waivers is
Dyson. It's Dyson Daniels in the starting lineup, getting minutes, guaranteed playing time. Coach loves him. Everybody loves him. Plays defense, man. He's a coach's guy. Like, he's going to play a ton of minutes.
They traded DeJounte Murray for him. They need something to show for that trade, all right? And so if they can discover and unlock Dyson Daniels, that would go a lot for that front office making that trade. A lot of incentive to play him and get the goodies out of him. And think about this, guys. Okay, you want to go out and get Santi Aldama. Santi Aldama is a Band-Aid. He's a temporary pickup because when Jaren Jackson Jr. comes back, then Santi Aldama will be a waiver wire guy. Dyson Daniels is a guy you're going to pick up and get goodies from all year long. He's in the starting five over Bogey Bogdanovic, okay? The number one pickup right now is Dyson Daniels. So for Dr. Ray, for our producer, Andre Lamouche,
Go
ahead, Doc. What you got?
You got to check out what's going on at SportsEthos.com because Rick and I and Brewski are doing a lot of it along with a bunch of other dudes who kill it. So y'all got to go check that out. Subscribe. Help us be able to keep doing this because this is fun.
Doc, this was a blast, man. This was a throwback to about 20 years ago in the NBA TV days on the old fantasy show. We're going to be doing this every Wednesday night, guys. Rick Kamla, Dr. Ray. We may have guests. We may have a third wheel pop in. I don't know. We'll see how this thing unfolds. But we're going to be on the air every Wednesday night at midnight, breaking down a huge night in the NBA. So make that some appointment listening for you. So for Dr. Ray, for Andre Lamouche, I am Rick Kamla. This episode of the Fantasy NBA Today has been presented by Bet Online. We'll see you soon, guys.